Welcome back to Pole Barn Garage, where the time has come to paint my 1973 Ford Torino Sport. I've had this car for a couple of years. Got it from Kevin over at Junkyard Digs. I've done a lot of work to it. We've been through pretty much every mechanical system of this thing. We've done some upholstery work, and most recently we swapped a 460 into it and also freshened up the transmission. It's time to paint it. Now you might notice it looks a little different than it did the last time you saw it. And that's because I am very busy. So I had my dad, who did body work for years, get this thing kind of roughed in. He hung a passenger quarter skin on this car. Remember, it was all wrinkled up and smashed. He did a little more rust repair around the driver's quarter. Dad did a lot of work to this thing.
Just got Dalton's Torino over to the house here so we can hang a quarter panel on it. These are actually things you don't think you're going to need, but you will need. These are paint markers and of course the Sharpies. Be able to mark the car, change it, or cut along the line, especially on a dark surface. So white one's perfect. We're going to look inside here and show you the wheelhouse itself is not really bad. It has this little bit of damage right here, which is really easily patched. There is no other rust on the entire wheelhouse until you get to the very front. Once again, it's just the very lowest corner, and that'll be an easy patch because it's the inside of the wheelhouse. You repair cut it out, repair it, then undercut over the top of it. No need to replace the outer wheelhouse. This is actually very solid. A couple of small hot spots like that one. This car, apparently 100 years ago, had some damage to this quarter panel because you can see this really old bond. Biggest issue I want to see on this car as far as changing the quarter panel, I don't know if you can see it in this light, but when it was hit this last time in the back end, it wrinkled the roof seal. Once the quarter is cut off, the skin is cut off, the tension will be taken off right here. So that'll allow this to flex a little bit more than what it is right now. There won't be pressure on it. So I'll be able to hammer and dolly this out. This, of course, will have to go. When the car was impacted back here, they changed the bumper, obviously. They've mudded all this. But all this is going to have to come out of here. It's still wrinkled hard down here. What I'm going to do here now is like thumbnail mark, where I'm going to go ahead and have to trim off this quarter panel to open up the space to be able to hang the new one. Then I'll know exactly, once I get the quarter panel off, how far the quarter panel is off from it being hit from behind. Now theoretically, I want to leave that lip on there for right now, especially so I have something to mount the new quarter panel to. I don't know if a lot of you guys realize, but most new cars are about 70% glued together. The auto bonding epoxy now is totally different than it used to be. Trim it off, mock it up, mount it with self-tapping screws, pull it back off. Once I trim it, then I'll put a auto bonding epoxy between the two panels. So if I lift this lip, the new panel will be attached to the skin and the original shell of the car. Then of course I will tack weld all the way down, all the way around the quarter panel. So it'll be welded and buffed. Also, what I'm going to be doing on this car is called skinning a quarter panel. I'm not going to be doing any structural repair because it's not really necessary on it. So what I'm going to do is remove the outer damaged skin, replace the new skin, cosmetically, re-seal it where it's smooth and pretty again. But basically put a skin on the outside of it, make it where it will not come loose or crack again. If we were going to do a full quarter replacement, of course you're going to pull the bumpers, which honestly, I guess I should, but it's not really needed on this car. If I have to, of course I will, and we'll hope I don't have to. We finally get the new quarter panel over here that Dalton bought for the Torino. It's made in the USA, and it is good gauge, heavy gauge. No black coat because it didn't have to come across the ocean and all the salt water. But man, what a crappy stamp job. It doesn't even have the the hole cut out for the side marker light. It's got about a 2.5-inch flange all the way around. The wheel well, I don't know if you guys can tell from this, is not, it's not flat. It's at about a 45-degree angle. All this will have to come off. I was also hoping it came up a little higher on the quarter panel, but it's only up to about here. What I've done here is basically mark off what I know has to be removed. It's all got to come off. And the flanges are even, they're rough cut. They're not even made to the body fit. When I'm talking about really poor stamping, this is the wheel well lip. And a lot of people would think, oh, I can just go ahead and get this mounted on there and it's good to go. No, this is just poor. It's supposed to be a semi indentation like this. This fades out right through here. There's nothing at all here. And this is really sharp and wavy through here. So that's all going to have to be mud. I also wonder about this right here, so I can see it in the metal. You can see where the indentation like this goes here and then stops and goes up and over. I'm sure it was probably the only one that's available, but man, it's crap. Well, it's actually about what I thought it would be on the inside. Very little. Once I trimmed out the rust holes, basically it's just 3 small ones and then a rear corner down here on this edge. This is very repairable. Not necessarily something that needs to be, you know, completely replaced, especially when it's in their wheelhouse. It's not going to show, you know, nobody is ever going to see that. And by the time I undercoat it with basically just rubberized undercoating on the inside and the outside of that panel, she's not going to rust again. Now what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and clean up the outside of this, so when I do get the metal pieces, basically made out of, you know, any kind of scrap metal you have or one of your wife's cookie sheets. This is what it actually looks like after the repair. I know you guys are going to freak, but it's just liquid nails. It's basically a waterproof, super tight adhesive. I went ahead and 2-party bonded, just JB weld, those panels in place on the inside of the wheel well. And I'll undercoat over the top of that, of course, inside and out before I put the quarter panel on. My only thing is, kind of like Dalton always says, you know, you can't see this. And no, it's not a brand new wheelhouse, but it absolutely was not necessary to replace this. It was just a repair. You're at a car show and some guy says, you know, cut that quarter panel off so I can see what you did to the outer wheelhouse. Then just tell them to piss up a rope and get a life. This is after it's undercoated. There is no issue with the outside quarter panel fitting on that wheelhouse. There won't be. Basically, whenever you put the new quarter panel over the outside of this, no one will be the wiser. So we got the first part of the quarter panel off. You'll see there's a little bit of rust damage in this lower front corner right there. Nothing big. Once we clean all the crap out of there, I can patch that easy enough. Anyways, that's what it looks like with the quarter skin off before trimming for fit. I'm gonna have to go ahead and pull this metal. Not bad. Got 3 spots. You can see where I've marked them. I'm gonna start by drawing those 3 and just give them a little tug to straighten this wrinkle out. She had a couple of problems because it was hit from behind. It did wrinkle the sail panel, made this pretty flimsy. I'm going to end up having to put a brace on the inside to stiffen that to keep it from vibrating. Got it pretty much trimmed now to where I can flange it and put it on the car. This is pretty much what we're going to need for the auto bonding epoxy. It's 3M, it's 2-part, it's self-mixing. Also, any bare metal, we're going to go ahead and put a coat of self-etching primer on it just to seal it. This is my flanger that we'll be using to make the crimped edge. I flanged the front edge of this quarter panel to slide in behind the B-pillar on the car. Well, initially put it up with screws just to hold it in place till we get the rest of the quarter panel finished out. And then we'll go ahead, pull it back off. 2-part epoxy it, screw it back on, let the epoxy harden, and we'll pull the screws back out and weld it. But this is what the flanger does. Just a beautiful clean line. Okay, it's back on again for the final mock-up. I do have an issue right through here. Always when you think you're done, you're not. I thought I shrunk it up enough to get rid of that wrinkle. I did not. I just moved it. So now I gotta work that. We'll put the etching prime on the inside edge where there's going to be the bonding adhesive. No bare metal will be touching. It's auto bonding epoxy. It's by 3M. It's a 2-part mixture. What it does is that when you mix it in the gun, it comes out. 2 sides come out as one in the end. The actual tensile strength of this is about 3,900 pounds. This is the quarter after she's mounted. She's got the 2-part auto bonding epoxy and spot welded back in place. It actually looks fairly straight. It'll be fine. It'll be a solid car, and that's honestly all that matters. Short strand fiberglass is the next step. Basically put one single layer down. This is just a base. There'll be 2 or 3 more layers of this. But short strand glass on metal to metal to me is much better than long strand. So this is just going to add a lot more strength. Okay, I've got my first 2 coats of short strand on. You're going to notice a difference in the color. This is something I do and a lot of guys do. Short strand will come with usually a blue hardener. I had some red hardener left over. So what I do is I'll alternate the colors of the hardener so I know which layer I'm cutting into. If I hit a high spot in here, it's going to be this color. So I'll know that either side of that is low or that side is, or that spot is high. Ready for mud. My workbench. Well, I got the first coat of mud on it. We're going to go ahead and black coat this because even though it's just the first coat of mud, I need to see where every low and high spot is because of the wrinkle that was in that roof seal. It's going to take at least another coat of mud. Theoretically, that should be the last coat of skin mud, and then glazing, putty, primer and block, and TORINO's finished. Had just a few little low spots right here, so I skinned the entire quarter panel. If you try to fill just the spot that's low, you're going to end up digging around that spot. So just go ahead and refill the entire area. When you board file it, or 8-inch DA, or even the 6-inch DA, it'll sand the entire thing at once. It'll come out a lot flatter. We got it ready for prime and icing. It's actually good enough for just one coat of icing will do it, just to fill them in little pinholes. Every time you think you're done, you always find something. that's how you install a quarter panel. We got our first coat of prime on now. Of course, it's not finished. You have to prime the block probably several times. But all in all, pretty darn straight. Now what I'll do next is go ahead and put a black coat on it. You're going to see spots like this. That is not a low spot. That is not a high spot. The reason I started out by putting a coat of primer over the Bondo first is because it will soak into the Bondo. So if you put a coat of Bondo on the car overall panel first, then come back and put an overall coat of primer over the entire panel, the Bondo area actually gets 2 coats and will, when it does shrink in, it will not shrink in as much.
So Dad was done with the quarter panel, and that is all I had asked him to do. But if you guys have watched the channel, you know that we have been doing a lot of traveling this summer, and that meant that the Torino sat around his house for a little longer than we expected, which meant that Dad eventually got bored and decided to just go ahead and rough in the entire car.
Put the final coat of mud on the little small spots where it pinholes. I went ahead and used regular Bondo. You can see where the door dings were on the car. When I put the icing on, wheel will turn out decent. It'll be just fine when we block it. And the patch behind the wheel will turn out good. Waiting for the spot putty I just put on here to fill pinholes to dry, I went ahead and skinned the deck lid. I mean, it's either stand around and do nothing or do something. Anyways, there's a original paint on the deck lid, so it was pretty easy to strip. I did find a few small dings, and this is just me, guys, but I always mark the areas so I don't forget them, because I'm old and I will forget them until it's time to block and prime, and then I have to put filler over it. So if I mark them now, I put some self-etching primer on it, then I can go ahead and put that, like the ones I have marked for fill, I'm actually going to have to use body filler. The ones I have mixed for eye just means I need icing, skin coat. Very, very minor. No rust at all on this deck lid. And like I said, it was original paint, so it was a piece of cake to get stripped. I went in and took the roof down to bare metal. Same thing. One original coat of paint. Should have a high spot right here. Something dinged from the inside. Another little spot right here. You can see where the paint stayed where I blocked. Deck lid's ready to go. This quarter's ready to go. Door and fender both are ready to go. And we have another ding right here. The original paint on the outside of the hood comes off really easy, but the black paint that was put on the hood, when you put the scoop on, it's kind of gummy. It's going to take a little longer. Don't want to warp it, so I'll just take time. Sand, stop, sand, stop. Don't want to get too hot in one spot or it will wrinkle. Okay, I went ahead and stripped the hood. I marked all the little dings that I could find. Half a dozen dings.
On the driver's side of the car, there was a fair amount of rust in the lower quarter, the bottom of the door, and in front of the rear wheel. Dad cut out all of that rust and patched it up about the same way he hung that quarter on the other side as a good long-lasting permanent repair using 3M panel bond.
Hatch is in, glass is on, first coat. Inner structure's hung, got it bonded down.
The driver's door on this Torino is a complete disaster. But you're not going to find a replacement. They don't make them, obviously, and finding a parts car is very unlikely for a 72 or 73 only body style. And are you really going to find one that's any better? You see all the blue paint that's still on that door? It's all body filler from about 50 years ago that's still in the car, so why mess with it? We just worked with what we have. Dad just glazing puttied the edges to feather it out, a little bit of filler and icing in the back of it over his patch panel, and call it good. It'll last for 10-15 years, longer than the car did the first time around. After finishing the rough-in bodywork, Dad shot the car in a coat of 2K black urethane primer, thus sealing everything in and leaving the rest of the finish work to me. And let's pick that up right now. I only asked him to hang that quarter, but he went above and beyond, as usual. And the car it's not ready for paint by any means, but it is roughed in to the point where I think within a week we could have this thing painted and pretty well done. But naturally, I need to throw a wrench into the works, and I've decided I no longer like the hood scoop I had bolted onto this. So after Dad straightened out this hood and made it work, which is why I bolted a hood scoop on it in the first place, is this hood was kind of a mess. I'm going to go ahead and swap the hood to another hood I have and get rid of the hood scoop. So where we need to start is with a rough block sand. We're going to take some 180 grit sandpaper. We're going to load up our sanding blocks, board file, and DA, and going to just start one panel at a time block sanding this thing. Dad took most of this car down to bare metal, which means there's probably a fair amount of sand scratches, and the only way you're going to get those out is block sanding. It's also going to tell us, especially with this black primer, it'll tell us where the lows and highs. It's going to help us get a nice straight car as a result. Now, since this is our first coat of prime, we're going to be blocking with 180 grit. That's just going to make material removal quicker, and we'll be able to kind of get a feel for how the car is. 99% of your bodywork is done in the primer. You're wanting to fill and level each little small dip and high spots and just make everything uniform and smooth. That's how you get a nice straight car. You know, it's straighter than factory. I'm going to use an orbital sander in DA mode, of course, and this isn't the best way to do it, but if you're skilled enough with your DA, you can make it happen. Just keep it flat and try not to dig ruts in your paint. You know, you want to kind of keep moving. You want everything to be uniform. If you use your DA in an X pattern like this, it's going to work out a lot better for you. You don't want to necessarily just run up and down, because you're going to end up with little ripples and high spots. As you're sanding along, you're going to want to be feeling. Just use your hand and feel. Now, I noticed all this bare metal over here, right? That's telling me there's a dent. And there sure enough is a pretty big damn dent right here. Just keep a pencil in your pocket and circle them. A coat of icing will take care of that, no problem. But at least we know it's there. You'd hate to paint a car and have a dent left in it. Now, you're not going to be able to get the DA everywhere, so just get you a sanding block. You can just kind of clean up like the edges and stuff. You don't want to be running the DA against your bumper or your window trim, and if you're like me, you're too lazy to take it off. Also, realistically, if I tried to take that window trim off, every bit of it's going to bend. So, better to just leave it alone. Case in point, block sanding. Look right here, folks. Bare metal, bare metal, bare metal. Kind of dark in the middle, right? That's a low spot. It's not a huge low spot, but it's definitely like hail damage or just a small ding of some kind. It'll probably block out, but we can accelerate the process with just like a little wipe of spot putty. It takes care of that. This needs icing. All along the back edge of this is very typical on 60s and 70s muscle era cars. Right on the pinch weld, it's just wavy. And you know what? It was probably always wavy. Like, it's just got a few little divots and dips in it. I think it'll probably block sand out. This one is pretty high. I may try to blend that with a little bit of spot putty, but it'll block out eventually, but just something to watch for. Anytime you see bare metal, just know that it's trouble. Like this, that's a high spot, but it will block in and level. We don't need to add any filler. And then up here, another high spot. It's like something got shut under here, like someone shut the deck lid and it bent this up slightly. Just a little, not much. Again, that probably blocks out, no big deal. Other than that, I don't see anything major. It's a little ripply and strange feeling over here. I'm not sure why. I may go ahead and block it a little bit more on this edge, just because it doesn't feel quite right to me. Man, this sandpaper blows. Might see if I can't just improve this little high spot a little bit. There we go, that's a lot better. And then just a little coat of spot putty will fix that. But I'm out of spot putty, and I've got some coming tomorrow. I'll pick it up in the morning when I get the paint for the car, and then we can fix most of this stuff. What I like to do sometimes is write what I'm doing. So I'm going to put icing on that one, icing on this one, and the rest is spot putty. It just kind of reminds me, that way I don't have to think about the whole process again. It's, you know, I just look at it and do what I told myself to do. Another thing I like to do is make sure I get, like, I don't know, at least 4 or 5 spots that need icing or filler or spot putty. So I just kind of mix some up and go for it, you know, get it all done at once. I think it's a little more efficient that way. In the interest of that, I'll block sand the roof, and we'll get an idea what's going on up here, and then we'll move to the sides of the car. Just remember, stay flat, folks. Flat. You start digging in with the edge or using the side of your hand, your car's gonna look like dog shit. Just stay flat. I can already hear the comments. Oh my God, you're not wearing a mask. Look, stay in your lane, bud. I'll be fine. All right, I've been doing this a long time. My dad did it a long time. He's almost 70 years old. He doesn't look like he's 70 years old. He looks like he's 50. I don't know. Maybe the Bondo dust and primer dust has preserved him, and he's sanded a hell of a lot more than I have. Here's another very common trouble area on old cars, is the roof seam. On a non-vinyl top car, it's almost always lead, and they're almost always kind of wavy. Sorry, Steve Miller's interrupting me. Hey, can it, Steve? But yeah, anyway, they're always kind of wavy. In fact, this whole part of the roof is kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of funky feeling, you know? Doesn't feel quite right. Not 100% sure what's going on, but I think a coat of icing up here would take care of it. And then this, where the seam is, it's a little bit fat on the seam. And the thing is, it kind of depends on what the guy on that side of the car was feeling like that day, and the guy checking his work down the line. You know, that guy might have been here half drunk or half asleep, just seaming that thing in there. And then the inspector at the end of the line, hell, he might have been drunk or making out with Debbie in HR. You don't know. Old cars did not have pristine quality. So what we're going to try to do to smooth that out, because it's not huge, but you would probably see it. I'm going to take an air board. It's like block sanding with a board, except way faster. And sure enough, I've cut down to the lead, which means as I sand, it should remove. It's a lot better, but this is all pretty low, so I'll probably just give that a quick coat of icing as well. Again, we're talking like less than a credit card thick of filler to get this right. It's hardly anything, but it's enough that with a nice shiny paint job on it, you might see that and go, what's that? Or at least I would. I'm kind of picky. And it's worth mentioning that if you have the air for it, an air board will make your life a hell of a lot easier when block sanding. I don't know if I would use it on like your final block sand, but for rough end work, shoot, it makes things go by way faster. Boom. You just got to be a little careful, and you got to kind of know what you're doing, but this is every bit as effective as using a hand block. You just, you know, got to feel for it. Anybody who's done production paint work is going to say, yeah, that's how you do it. And then the guys who bought the DVD set of How to Paint Your Car at Home by Joe Head, you know, they're going to be like, oh, that's not the right way to do it. The DVD said otherwise. No, okay, this is how you do it. I'm going to finish block sanding this quarter, and then we'll do some icing work. But prepare yourself for a lot of sanding, because that's pretty much 99% of body work right here. Sand and sand and prime and sand and prime and sand and sand and prime and some more. If you want pretty things, it takes more than just pressing a button on your Xbox controller and changing the color. It takes work. Alright, I'm going to mix up some icing or glazing putty. I like this U-Pole Dolphin glaze. It's pretty good. A little goes a pretty long way. See how thin it is? It's almost liquidy. So it's just extremely fine body filler is more or less what icing is. So you just dump some out there, and then it says like 2% hardener, so you know, just put a little dot of hardener in there. Then you mix it up real good with your spreader, and then you get to spreading. Oh, that was messy. Dummy Dalton. You want to try to be as clean as you can when you're wiping this stuff on, because the idea is that you don't want to sand the surrounding area too much. You're just trying to fill in where there's trouble. And you'll note that I put a little tape around the lock cylinder hole here, and that's going to keep this stuff from running down into the lock cylinder hole too much. I'd have brought you over here with me, but you know, you're limited. You got about 5 minutes to work this stuff. And when you're spreading any kind of filler, just work it in the same direction. If you start working side to side or up and down, you're going to end up making pinholes, and pinholes are bad. So just if you work it in the same direction, you're a lot less likely to create pinholes. While I let that set up, I'll touch up a few things on this quarter, and you'll note that I'm not using a sanding block right now. And that's because this quarter is so curvy, and there's nothing straight about this. If I were to take a sanding block to this, you need a really flexible sanding block if you're going to do it that way. If you know what you're doing with your palm, you can make it happen. Just be careful, and you got to use your palm. The palm of your hand is reasonably flat, and just don't dig too much, you know, like going right along the top of this body line here. I'm just going to lightly rough that primer up, and I'm going to be feeling, making sure I'm not, you know, digging assholes in it and screwing it up. It should be just fine. Now, the reason I'm doing that, I'm going to sand right up to the body line, and then I'm going to really lightly just hit the body line, because I want those body lines to be really sharp and crisp as the body work continues. And that's how you get a nice crisp line down the side of the car, instead of like just a rounded lump. Even from the factory, they're kind of rounded, but if you get those body lines to be real sharp, it just makes the car look better, I think. And like for spots like around this wheel opening, like, you know, forget it. You're not getting a sanding block in there. This is where experience will help you some. But the only way you're going to get experience is if you get out there and try it. So this is the only way to do it, and that's how I learned. I mean, my dad did it, and he showed me. But showing someone and doing it yourself, those are different things, you know. But you definitely want to make sure you're getting around all your edges really good, like inside this wheel opening and stuff like that, like around the bumper in the back. No, I'm not pulling all the trim. Call me lazy, but, you know, I mean, back in the day, nobody did that. You just spray around it, and if you know what you're doing, you'll be fine. You know, all these edges and stuff, this is key. Because if you don't have good adhesion on your primer, you're not going to have good adhesion on your paint. So you really got to have some attention to detail and make sure everything is roughed and scuffed. We got a couple little dings on the quarter, like right here. You can tell that's actually high, but it's a low spot right there. Spot putty will take care of that. And see that little ding on the body line right here? Spot putty, it takes care of that, no problem. We just don't want to forget about it. Now, if we're going to run into any major problems, it's going to be this quarter panel here that Dad hung on it. Like I said, it's just kind of a really poor reproduction, and it's just a skin. This car really could have done with the full quarter. It was whacked so hard that it buckled the B-pillar. A lot of this is homemade back here, I know that. It's got some filler in it. And that's the way. That's the only way you're going to do it. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, but body filler is actually meant for body repairs. This will last for, it'll last for longer than the car did the first go around. I can guarantee you that. It's not like these things lasted more than 5 years before they rotted out. It'll probably, you got 10, 15 years out of this for sure. Because, if you use it correctly, which this is. I know Dad just panel bonded that quarter onto here. And again, that's how modern cars are completely assembled from new with that stuff. That's the way to do it, as far as I'm concerned. You put a lot less heat in the panel, you don't warp things. It honestly is a better repair in a lot of ways. My dad and I have really never done like the father-son project thing. I see a lot of guys do it. What it ends up being is a father project, and the son watches or plays on his phone while the dad works. What my dad did with me is gave me tools and a place to do it, and I bought my own car, and he said, here you go, and then left me to my own devices. That's the way to do it. I learned on my own, with my dad's guidance, if I needed it. And the key is that when I was out in the shop, just like when JD works with me, Dad never yelled at me or anything like that. There was never like a, oh my God, it has to be done perfect in this way, otherwise I'll disown you. There was no yelling because you held the flashlight wrong. Dad just taught, and that's what a dad's supposed to do. That's what a man does. I guess the point of that being is like, this really isn't a father-son project. We just both do the same thing. Because Dad cultured an environment that made it friendly for me to like the same things that he does. That's pretty damn straight. This was a freaking mess. That feels really good. My dad is damn good. I'd put him up against pretty much anybody for body work. He's got your number and he'll do it 3 times as fast. Nearly perfect. It's got a little bit of a ripple in it, right where that damn quarter was kinked, but it'll come out of there. I could tell Dad put a shit ton of primer on this. Okay, yeah, we got some lumps and bumps in here. Nothing too bad. It probably blocks out. I think the other thing to remember if you're going to work on a car with your kids or try to set an example at the very least, is that don't take 10 years to put your car together. If everything's got to be perfect for you, you're never going to be happy. All right, like this car will be pretty damn nice. It'll be a 1-footer, but there's still going to be some imperfections, and I'm aware of that. I expect that the car's it's not going to be 100% perfect, but it'll be a damn nice 98%. If you can get that mentality through your head, you're going to get your jobs done faster. My dad did this car in like a month. Hung that quarter, did all the body work pretty much. He did it in a month in his spare time, in between working on other cars, in his garage at home, just because he was bored. It comes down to a matter of will more than anything. Yeah, this thing's kind of a mess. It's not good. I think it'll all block out, but yeah, that's a bummer. So the shape of this quarter is not 100% right. I mean, it's close. It's just not. It's not like the other side. Now the good thing is you can only see one side of the car at a time. It's actually got a pretty good high spot right here in the middle. Got a pretty good dent right there in the new patch panel. That needs body filler. That's it. That's a regular old dent. So the seam where he patched that is in here somewhere. So this is all just the stamping of it, I mean, all the way to the front. This is all new metal, and it's just not made right. So you can't tell on camera. Hell, you can barely tell in person. It's just, yeah, it does bug me a little bit, but I'll get over it. That's the point. It will be fine. You guys will see me use inexpensive materials a lot of times. I really love this car. I'll probably keep it for the rest of my life, so I did not cheap out on materials. I've got 3M Platinum Plus body filler here. I think this stuff is basically Evercoat Rage Gold. It's a very high quality body filler. It's about double the price of the U-Pole stuff I normally use. Pretty much any filler that's gold is pretty damn good. I don't know what the deal is with that, but that is a thing. So I'm just gonna fill that dent that's in that patch panel. Now that I get down here, I see a whole bunch of stuff I missed sanding. Oops. Anyway, let's get this dent filled. This is the perfect application for using body. Oh hell, there's 2 dents back here. Shoot. So this is the perfect application for body filler. You don't need to get in here and, I mean, you could hammer and dolly that a little bit and make it a little bit better. But guess what you're gonna have to do when you're done is put a coat of body filler on it. So why even mess with it? Use a high quality product and it will be fine. Just take your filler, boop, get that filled in. You're gonna have to do that whether it's brand new sheet metal or whatever. This is Bodywork. You have to use body filler in Bodywork unless you're gonna spend $50,000 on someone to metalwork everything or spend the rest of your life doing it yourself. You're gonna use some body filler. And used correctly, there's absolutely nothing wrong with using body filler. You can get yourself into trouble. I'm feeling things right now because I have some extra filler, and there's definitely something right here. But I bet you $1 it blocks out. I definitely don't need to use body filler on it. I'm just feeling around looking for somewhere to use it. I hate wasting material. I'm gonna take the body man shower and then go to bed. Today's video is brought to you by AG1. Now, you've heard me talk about AG1 a lot, but I have new information for you. They have wonderful new flavors, such as berry, citrus, and what I've got loaded up in here is the tropical flavor. Just in case you didn't like the taste of your other health drinks or even AG1 itself, now you got some options. The tropical one is pretty good. It's not bad. Every morning I get up, I drink my AG1. Jess drinks her AG1. We're better for it as far as our digestive health goes, our gut health. 1 scoop of AG1 every day gets you your multivitamins, it gets you your pre and probiotics. Use the QR code on screen or click the link in the description of this video. Go ahead and get your welcome kit. Your welcome kit's gonna include this. So you get the can, you get the spoon, you get a pouch of AG1, you get travel packs, you get vitamin D3 and K2 in a dropper, and you get the tumbler shaker thingy. Scan the code, click the link in the description. Thanks to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to work. We're back for more block sanding today. Getting another late start. I had some stuff I got to take care of, but we'll get what we can done. I was hoping to change the hood, as I mentioned, and earlier I figured out that that's not really a viable option right now, so looks like we're going to go with the hood scoop. I was going to steal the hood off that blue Ranchero we drove home from Texas, but as you can see, this hood is actually pretty rough. Those are all pinholes on the top, those are pinholes, and the whole underside, the supports of it, are rotted away. So that hood's junk. New shop, by the way. Coming along pretty good, but we're still going to be working out of the old pole barn for the most part, especially when we're doing dirty stuff like sanding. And the other hood I have on hand is the TORINO station wagon. We drove this car home from Las Vegas, and I'm going to put a 72 TORINO front end on this, so I don't need the hood, but this hood is completely destroyed. You can even see that hail damage on camera, and that should definitely give you an indication of how bad it is. That thing's, I would spend a month trying to get that straight, and it is never going to be right. So hood scoop it is. Whether or not I make it blue or black it out, I don't know. I'll do some thinking on it as we work. Well, I guess we're going to have the Cobra Jet hood scoop. You know, and the reason I put the Cobra Jet hood scoop on this hood in the first place is because this hood was also pretty rough, but it is better than either of those two. Before I get too far ahead of myself with block sanding, I want to make sure I get some spot putty on the areas that kind of seem to be trouble spots. The spot putty is even finer body filler than even icing is, and it is not catalyzed, so it just dries on its own, meaning you don't want to put a lot of it on anything. I've found that this 3M Acryl Green is about the best stuff you can buy. It's not cheap necessarily, but it does work very well. And so like for this spot here, I'm gonna wipe that whole area, and when I come back, I'm just gonna hit it with some 180 and go real slow and blend it all flush. It's just gonna save me some trouble blocking later. Yeah, I started blocking this fender and I realized that these marker lights are pretty easy to remove, so I'm going to pull the front fender marker lights out, and then I'm afraid I'm going to have to pull the mirror off the door. It's going to be tough to paint behind this kind of mirror. These sport mirrors got a hell of an angle on them. So I'm going to have to take the door panels off and remove the mirrors. That sucks. That's going to take me a couple hours probably. But these are easy, and one less thing we got to worry about. I hate removing interior panels from old cars, especially ones where they don't reproduce any of it. The good thing is that this is actually some kind of molded plastic, so hopefully it won't tear or anything like that. And it feels like it's in good shape, so I think we'll get away with it. And if we're taking the door panel off anyway, I may as well pull the outer door handle and the lock cylinder out of it. When you remove these door panels, what you want to do is get you a trim tool and try to feel for where the clip is. Sometimes they're tough to find. There we go. You want to find where the clip is and try to pry as close to it as you can. There we go. We're having pretty good success with this, actually. A lot better than I thought. So that means it'll probably go back in without a lot of trouble. Ford makes this easier than some. They give you two pretty nice access holes to work through here. You can get right up to the studs that hold the mirror on. There we go. Now, things have been going pretty smoothly. I haven't noticed anything obvious, but here's a great example of block sanding. See that right there? See the little dark spot in the middle? There's a door ding here, like someone slapped a door into this fender. And it ain't much. I mean, it's hardly there at all. It might block out. Let's find out. See how it's very dark in the middle? Or light around the edge? I'm going to lightly sand until I hit some kind of bare metal or break through this primer. See if we can't get that out. Alright, see, looks like Dad has a little spot putty right there. He probably tried to fill a ding already, and it's just not quite there. It's damn near there, though. One more coat of primer gets that. So, that's good enough. But that's what I mean, you know. Right here is where your bodywork's done. You see this spot right here where it's kind of dark? This is a wave. It's not a dent. It's not a ding. It's not really a whole lot of anything, but there's a ripple in this door. And I remember Dad telling me there was a whole bunch of old filler in this door that he just left in here because, well, it's been in there for, God, 40 years. It's probably not going anywhere. And sure enough, it's kind of lumpy around here, and it's just the old bodywork. I don't see any new filler. I'm punching through to some red oxide primer right now. I'm gonna block away at this and just kind of see what we have to work with. This may require some attention. Yep, pretty much immediately I hit some bare metal here. So what's happened here is something has hit here and it's wrinkled the door back here. This all seems pretty good, but just this leading edge, it could use a little bit of work. I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet. Probably a coat of icing takes care of this if I'm careful with how I blend it. So we'll probably coat from about the edge of the door to about here. And we're just going to blend all this in with icing, and that should take care of it. But blocking any more than this isn't going to take care of it. The other thing that would get it would be feather fill, like polyester sprayable filler. That would take care of that pretty much instantly, but I'm going to try to avoid using that. You'll note I put a little tape on the fender there. That's because this stuff is kind of messy to work with. I'll probably do this and then knock down the other icing we put on yesterday and see what we got going back there. And hopefully by the time we do that, this will be set up and ready to sand. That's the key to Bodywork, is you got to keep moving. You know, you can't be one of those like, oh, I got to do one thing at a time, guys. You know, your one thing to do is the whole damn car. You got to do the whole car at once. This is going to be a little bit excessive, but if I take it back to about here, that's going to give me something to blend to. And what we're not really trying to fill anything with this. All we're trying to do is make it look level. And the thing is, things can be unlevel and not uniform if they're spread out over a long enough area. When you're working your filler or icing or anything, you're not trying to get it perfect with the filler or icing or anything. What you're trying to do is get it close enough that your next coat of primer can get it perfect. And that's what this should do. So we'll be very, very conservative with how we sand on this. And the other reason to coat the whole work surface, even if it's a little outside of what you need, is there is filler in this. And so say I just filled the low spot, right? Well, what I'm going to end up doing is sanding the low spot and creating two more low spots on either side of the low spot. If it was just metal in there, then yeah, you could kind of get away with a lot less. But since there is some filler and a lot of primer and etc., we're just going to have to try to blend. I already knocked down some of this icing and it turned out pretty nice. This was a pretty good sized dent, if you recall, so let's very slowly we're going to start working it. We're going to be feeling along the way. Okay, see, I'm starting to hit some other, looks like there's some icing in it already around it, not in the middle of that, but so we're going to have to be a little bit careful here. I'm going to switch from the DA to sanding block. And again, this is not the time where we're trying to make everything perfect. We're just trying to get it good enough that our next 2 or 3 even block coats can get it knocked out. And you know, that's the kind of thing you only get with experience, is knowing when to stop sanding and try again. But hopefully videos like this can help you get an idea for it. It's still a little goofy feeling, but I think it's blockable now. So this is the point where I need to quit sanding, because it's not going to help me at all. Just want to try to get this body line shaped a little bit better. Yeah, so we're getting close here. It's not bad, but once you kind of get everything knocked down with your DA, it's okay to come in with your sanding block and very slowly work it and feel it until it feels right. You got to be able to envision what it's going to look like, and it's pretty close right now. I mean, we're working with stuff that's, I don't know, a 32nd of an inch thick, maybe. Like, you know, we're talking very minute details, but it's important. Now, if you're like my dad, you would knock this out with a DA and it would wind up being perfectly fine. So it's an experience thing. Me, I'm not quite comfortable enough to do that, so I'll take my time with the sanding block till I get it just close enough that we can prime it.
As we sail on board the wheelhouse where I was born and raised.
It took me about 10 minutes, but I think I got this pretty close. We're still a little weird right here, but we fixed the bulk of it. It just doesn't feel quite right. I think Prime and Block gets it, and if Prime and Block don't get it, well, the giant stripe that covers it certainly will, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. But you see, like this guy right here, see that little divot here? What that is a little rat. It was in my spreader when I was spreading it, and I must have left a little rat in it, and basically it made a little air pocket in the icing when I spread it on. So you have these little guys, they're going to show up on you no matter what. Take a little spot putty and just wipe that in. A primer will probably fill it too, but let's just make sure we get it. Must have been on the shelf for a while. Look at that. It's just dripping. What I like to do for stuff like this is just load my spreader with a little bit on the corner. And take my spreader and just whoop, and done. With that, this thing is pretty much ready for the next coat of prime, so I'm going to blow it off, get everything off of the car, mask it, and probably shoot the prime tomorrow. Okay, we are ready to paint today. I had my razor set on 0 this morning. I was just going to trim a little bit because it helps the mask seal against your face. You know, you really can't have a beard. Well, now that won't be a problem. It's going to seal against my face. Absolutely no problem at all now. So Dad and I have both had some trouble with this U-Pole high build primer. Just lately, about the last 6 months. I've been shooting that for years. And now we're having some issues with it, so I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use this. I got this stuff on eBay, but I'm pretty sure Finish 1 is like Sherwin-Williams off-brand primer, so we'll give it a shot. I like to shoot with an old-school cup gun. I like Harbor Freight cheap cup guns to shoot primer with. You know, you can get probably 10 or 15 jobs out of them before you throw it away. Then you just go get another one. I only shoot urethane primer these days. I mean, you could still use lacquer primer if you want, but urethane primer builds so much better. It seals better, and really, I mean, it's like an extra 30, 40 bucks, and you got a lot better product. Pretty much all urethane primers are going to mix 4 to 1. 4 parts primer to 1 part activator. And you can reduce it. You can reduce a urethane primer about 1 part, and it effectively becomes a sealer at that point. So for your final prime, just reduce it, and you kind of got a sealer and a primer all in one. Always stir your product, make sure that it's not separated, nothing goofy is going on. You know, my workbench is a mess here. Before we actually like paint the car, I'm going to clean all this off and have as sterile of an environment as possible in the pole barn, but for primer it's not really critical. And well, yep, still making a giant mess. That's what I'm good at. 4 parts of primer in there. Let's put 1 part activator in there, and there's our first cup gun. When we begin priming, we're going to want to cover all of our bodywork first. So any of the filler, we want to try to get that coated. That way we guarantee ourselves at least 1 extra coat over the areas that are going to need it. That goes for bare metal, filler, old paint, whatever. Just give it 1 extra coat. With a cup feed gun, I like to shoot at around 40 psi or so. I'm just going to give this a nice coat like that. And yes, I will put on my respirator when I'm not talking to you. That said, you guys know I'm not Mr. Safety, but if you're going to be spraying things, atomized paint and stuff like that, you need a good respirator. Wear one.
While the primer is wet, that's a good time for you to look at it and see how straight your panel is, and that looks really good. I don't think we're going to have too much trouble. so damn humid. My gun is making condensation. I don't know what to do about that. I guess I'll just have to shoot the car at night when we paint it. You can get away with stuff in the primer, but you ain't gonna get away with it in the paint. I like this primer a lot, but it doesn't go very far. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I'm gonna need another gallon.
Everything's got a coat of primer on it now. I've put several coats over the trouble areas. Just have to wait about an hour and then we can probably start sanding. I think in the meantime, I'm gonna go get a couple of desiccant dryers for my compressor. I think it's been a couple of years since I did those. They may be due. See stuff like this? See that like texture in that? That's moisture in the primer. It's not gonna hurt anything, it'll sand right out, but we sure as shit don't want it in the paint. So I think I'm gonna replace my dryers over there and probably add a dryer here so that it's a little bit closer to the spray gun. I'm gonna go spend some money at Harbor Freight and I will catch you in a minute. Well, I've returned from Harbor Freight. I'm gonna be installing a dryer on the hose out here. Hopefully that helps us. But before I do that, let's lay down a guide coat. If you just use a like kinda sorta half-ass quality spray paint, you can use that as a guide coat, no problem. I've been doing it this way forever. If you lay it light like this, you know, I mean, you just want to dust it. That way you have something to tell you what you're sanding and what you're leaving behind. So as we block sand next time, if there's any dark spots, then that's going to be a low spot. It's just going to let us know what we're doing as we're doing it. So you just dust it. I mean, just dust the whole car. Once it's dry, you can begin block sanding again. Not gonna lie to you guys, this car is probably straight enough to paint right now. The old saying goes, you know, once you think you've block sanded enough, do it again. And let's do it again for sure, just to be safe. There we go. This is a filter, and this is a desiccant dryer. This should help us out. Well, with my pipe fitting out of the way, I guess let's make sure it works and block sand this car again. Now I'm going to be block sanding this with 180 again because we're going to end up putting another coat of prime on the car. Now our final coat of prime will get 320 or 400 grit sandpaper to get it ready for paint. You never want to paint over 180, but 180 is just going to be a quicker way to go about this. Case in point, block sanding. You see this black splotch here? That's the primer underneath this primer, which means it's a little bit of a high spot. What we're doing is leveling out the whole car. We're going to end up having some of that first coat of primer show through. That's okay, it's what we want. Imperceptible, you can't feel it. There's nothing there now. You would have never felt it, you'd have never saw it in the primer, but you sure as shit would have saw it in the paint. See this little sumbitch right here? There's a freaking hail ding right in the middle. And we would have missed it if we didn't come back for another coat. So now it's gone. Yeah, we're still a little wonky back here, but I kind of think that's just the shape of the roof. It feels like the other side, I think. You get kind of a weird lump here. You see these two black spots in the roof sail? It's a high spot, so I'm gonna work it a little and just kind of see what I find. That's filler. Just hit metal, so we can't really go lower than that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do something about that. It's kind of off. See this spot here, this is low right here, just right in this area. This up here is okay. Let me block the rest of this to see what it comes out like. That's no bueno. See that right there? This is all stuff we wouldn't have seen without doing this. I'm gonna have to rework a lot of this roof sail, but that's okay. We got the primer to take care of it. I should have caught this in the first coat of prime, but I didn't, so we'll have to fix it now. Coat this roof sail because it had several low spots in it, and the only way you're gonna fix a bunch of low spots is to coat the whole thing. And yes, I'm breaking my rule about only spreading filler one direction, but sometimes you don't have a choice, so that's what we're doing. And I was hoping to get final prime on after this, but I don't think so. I got another big hail dent right there. And then a little bit of a ripple in this roof sail, not bad. Turns out that some of the stuff I fixed over on the passenger side, that's just the way the roof is. I should have blocked this down and felt it first. I'll just make them both smooth and uniform, and it'll be better than new.
I'm here to distract you, and I love sanding.
I can give you a block. You can sand the edges. That'd be the job I give JD.
The edges?
I actually am going to let Buff block the hood because I know the hood's pretty decent. But
And you're going to just paint it anyway, or primer it anyway.
well, yeah, it'll get primed again. So.
Yeah, so like this little thing right here that I can already see metal on, it's fine.
Yeah, we could break through this coat. Yeah, we'll be fine. And sure enough, we have a dent right here. See the black? See the black? That's a dent. Now, I'm going to put some icing on that, but the rest of the car looks great. I got that dent taken care of. It's just very thin coat of icing, but that'll do it. We're ready to prime. It's very late at night, but if we do it now, then we don't have to do it tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Change it up a little bit. I don't have enough of that primer left to shoot the whole thing, so I got a gallon of Nason primer, which is not cheap, but hopefully it covers a little bit better than that last stuff did, and it barely got the job done.
So do you just buy a new gun every car?
Yeah, that one was getting kind of chunky. It still works, but I want to try to get this primer to lay down as smooth as I can.
Did you get it for $19.99?
No, this gun is $35.
Whoa!
The green one.
All right.
The green one is the best one they sell. Yeah. This has been on the shelf for a minute.
It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Sure is. There we go. I did a more gooder job with the tape that time.
That's pretty nice. I like that. That's too much pressure though. I'll cover all my bare metal, all my fillers. Then we'll go ahead and overhaul the whole car.
But today, we got another coat of guide coat on. Guess what that means?
Yes, we're gonna go sand this whole car again.
Again. That's right, because it's my Torino, and so it's worth an extra go.
It is. It's gonna be really straight though.
It should be. Should be pretty good. If you go for that extra, you'll never regret doing an extra block sand, but you might regret not doing it. So that's where we're at now. So we're just gonna hammer home, get this thing done right now. That wasp is still alive, a different wasp, but they are everywhere. I just killed one. It's as big as like a hummingbird, I swear.
Dent the car.
Oh God.
He's up there now.
How hot is it out today? It's like 96, right?
Yeah, but like a heat index of like 112. Yeah,
It's great.
Yeah, it's perfect.
You see this right here? This is why we blocked it again. See, I broke through icing, and the black you're seeing here is that first coat of primer. So this is what I've been talking about. We're getting to a uniform surface. It's very close. Now, rule of thumb, you generally don't want to break through to your icing. That means I put too much on, but it's okay in this case because icing comes off very easily, even hand sanding. So I'm just going to work it until I see just the very beginnings of bare metal anywhere. And that's going to tell us we're pretty much good. And I do think that this is pretty damn good. But coming back to this extra block sand, I removed a decent amount of material out of this. So it is now definitely more straight than it was. That's about as far as I'm going right there, but that's good. Magically, 4 hours later, it's ready to prime again.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And then we can do it all over again.
Lucky you guys. You just got to fast forward through it. Car's excellent. This was the right move. Found just a handful of things that may or may not have even shown, but we know we got them now. Then mix up some primer, shoot this again. I'm going to reprime the hood scoop. That's good to go. What we're going to shoot for now is not like we have been. I'm not going to put an extra coat on my filler or anything like that because we're not going to be doing any more block sanding. Next time we sand this thing, it'll be 320 on a flat block, and that's it. The car is done as done is going to be, but we need something uniform, level, and the same color to paint. Oh boy, that stuff got thick. Towards the bottom of that can, it's a little thicker. No, it's micro popping. Yeah, let me get some reducer.
What were you looking for?
This should work.
Oh, so this wasn't what you wanted?
That is what I want to use, but I need that for the base coat of the clear, so I don't want to use it up. We don't need much. We just need a little splash. This, you probably shouldn't do this, I guess, but most urethane reducers are created equal.
Oh, mix and match. Yeah.
You're not supposed to do this.
Oh, because that's Nason and this is whatever?
Yeah. But I want to make sure that I've got enough of that. The paint is way more important than the primer. We can, it don't matter. We can sand out anything.
Just for reference, it's 105 heat index right now.
Oh boy.
That's when you want to paint your car.
That's not helping anything. It's a little bit better.
Well, between the humidity and the primer not thinning out well enough, and now the airline's broke, and then there was
I spilled.
that little bit right there. Yeah. It's almost like somebody's telling us we need to wait till it's a little cooler out. Maybe that's what it is.
Unfortunately, due to my dramatic spill of an entire mixed cup of primer, that left us without enough Nason primer to finish the car. Well, we have to do the no-no thing. I'm gonna have to use that other primer to finish this.
Well, it's not a whole lot.
No, it'll just be that door that's fucked.
And the hood scoop.
Yeah, you know.
It'll be fine. Gotta shake it.
Yep. Back to this stuff. Which, I mean, in its defense, worked totally fine. It just didn't go quite as far.
You don't need it to go far.
Nope. No reducer needed for this. Mixing and matching your products is a big no-no. Don't do that. Especially on your final coat of primer. You know, you definitely wouldn't want to do that.
Not the one that matters or anything.
No. It's not like I'm doing that or anything. Hey, you want to see how I clean this gun? Very,
yes.
very high tech.
Yes, we do.
All right.
Clean.
Well, with that, we're going to let this set up, go get some supper, come back, unmask, pull the car out. We're going to do a deep clean in the shop. Look how nice it is in here.
Yeah.
We even have a masking machine now. I have made a executive decision to go ahead and just shoot the jambs of the car. It's been rainy today, off and on. I don't want to pull the car outside because of that. So we'll just work on getting the jambs done. At least they'll be done. Then we'll paint the small parts. Then we'll paint the car. We're not going to do anything too crazy here. We'll probably take off the sill plates, take out anything that's easy to remove, tape everything off, and just scratch and shoot the jambs. I mean, it does not need to be perfect in there. Now, you got to clean up a few things in the jambs here where the tire pressure sticker was, the jack sticker in the trunk. So take some 180 on a DA and just rough it up. They're just door jambs. It's not super high priority. You want to open the door, you want to see shiny blue, and that's about as far as your attention's going to go. And outside of just that little bit on the stickers there, I'm going to just rough everything up with 180, and we'll go over it with a red Scotch-Brite. And that's about it, you know. The idea here is don't break all the way through. Try not to get bare metal. Just scratch and shoot it. And Scotch-Brite's just going to help you get into those nooks, crannies that you can't get with sandpaper. It's not necessarily correct for this, but I do like self-etching primer to just cover bare metal real quick. Works pretty well. It's not very thick and it doesn't block anything, but it'll help the paint just stick to it. And that's all we really care about. Just for reference, so you guys know how much time this takes, I'm not done masking over here, and I've got at least 30 minutes in just taping this, but this is generally how you're going to tape off a door jamb.
Masking is fun. Yay.
Yeah, masking takes longer than almost anything. And then I know I'm going to get those like super anal guys in here. Like, you can just remove the whole interior and just assemble the car, and then you can paint it. And yeah, and
3 weeks later, we're still doing it.
Okay, we're masked again.
We have built a wall.
Yeah.
This is a great wall.
And so we're going to shoot the jambs with single stage, not base clear like we'll do the rest of the car. There's no reason to do base clear in a door jamb. So I got an extra quart of single stage just for the jambs, and it is the factory code 3K Blue Glow Poly. So this stuff mixes 8-to-1 with 2 parts reducer, but it feels really thin in the can. So we'll see. I'll probably start with 1 part reducer. There's your 3K Blue Glow Poly. Poly means metallic. And I have this mixed by O'Reilly. They carry Exalta. Nason is the lower level of Exalta. But, it's pretty good paint. See how thin that is, though?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to reduce that much. So that would be 8 parts. paint, and then 1 part activator. Oh.
Oh.
That's convenient.
How that's supposed to go.
No. And I am going to put a dribble of fisheye eliminator in there. And I'm talking like a drop. That's it. Because they are door jambs. And it's very likely that there's been armor all and stuff like that all over them. Now that said, now that I've done that, I'm probably going to need to use fisheye eliminator in the rest of the car. I'm going to mix this together with the catalyst and just kind of see what it looks like. Pretty good. I mean, it could use maybe a splash of reducer. Not much. Not much at all. But I will give it just a little drop of it. All the reducer is really going to do for us at this point is just help it dry. Do you see all the black in that? That is why shooting metallic is hard. It's because metallic has black in it. That's how you get the shimmer effect. And so if you shoot it wrong, it really looks like ass.
So we're going to want to shoot this at pretty low pressure. They make smaller guns for this job, but, well, I don't have one. Too much. There we go. That is a really good match.
That's good. That's really close. Beautiful color.
And just like the factory, I'll try to get a bunch of runs in it.
That was only on Thursdays and Fridays.
Cover's great. Now, this is the hardest part right here, is trying to get paint in there. Basically what you do is just stick your paint gun in there and kind of hope it turns blue. It's got to get in here. It's okay if I got some on the car, it'll come off. There we go. All right. That's just so if you open the door, it's blue back there. That's all. You got to be kind of a gymnast to do this. All right, don't ever do this. That'll work.
Just like factory.
Don't do that. Stuff covers like unbelievably good. I got half a gun left. It's already tacky. I can shoot it again.
As is tradition, it appears I've summoned rain. Anytime I paint, the rain comes.
Yep.
We gotta wait like an hour probably before we can unmask. And then we can, I don't know, either sand the car or whatever.
Yeah.
Do something. But Probably need to wait at least an hour.
Forward progress regardless.
Yeah, hell, jams are done. That's huge.
Yep.
Okay, most satisfying part.
It is.
Well, other than unmasking the
Final.
the final paint. I gotta say that looks pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. So unfortunately, this paint it's drying. I mean, it's not wet by any means, but it is a little tacky. I mean, I could put my finger in it and it doesn't leave a mark or anything, but I can just tell it's kind of tacky.
It's just soft.
If we shut these doors on that weather strip, it's going to leave a mark, and I don't want to do that. There's no reason to, especially because I just built a new shop. So what we're going to do, I don't have air over there yet, but what we're going to do is leave the car alone right here. We're going to 320 hand sand the scoop and the mirrors, take them over to the new shop and try to, quickly throw something together over there to spray them and paint clear in the new shop over there. I'm sure we can make something work. There you go.
Thank you.
You take the mirrors, I'll take the scoop. Don't break through. They only have one coat on them, so just soft.
Yep.
Of course, I built the new shop to specifically not do this in here.
Yep.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Literally, it's been here for a month. I mean, I would like to use this as a mechanical bay, but I want to use that for body and paint work, which I do a lot of, so.
And to me, that's probably the best explanation. Originally being storage, I get it. This is awful nice for storage.
Yeah, well.
I do get it though.
I do use it for storage.
Right, but you could, stack 1, 2, 3, 4. You could stack 6 in here, especially if you had a lift.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, having this available to have a car in here working on it, ripping shit out of it, you still have an opening over here that you could pull in another one and work on, and then still have storage. Like if you put a stacker over there with 2, after cleaning it in there, that'd make an excellent paint booth. It's obviously been one for a long time. It's just not been permanent. Now you keep all the oil, grease, and shit out of there.
Yeah, I mean like a dedicated paint booth.
Because every time you spill a bucket or lose fluids, it's not in there.
Look at all that sweet filtered air we have in this one. Well, kinda. Hang on. There, see? All the filtration.
Don't look over there.
God damn it. I got all these for the shop over there when we paint. Something I do, and it does help.
I feel quite refreshed already.
It's pure in here, you might say.
You are a genius.
Well, the filters were kind of a wash. That didn't really work. But this is our professional paint setting up thingy here. It's a jig, and the sawhorses. The only thing we really need to do now is wipe the surfaces with a wax and grease remover. This Van Sickle stuff is actually pretty good. And all you got to do with this stuff is just put it on wet with one clean rag and then wipe it off dry with another clean rag. Hardest part about this is I'm going to have to paint. It's going to be weird, but they're just mirrors, so.
Well, once that area is cleared out over on the other side, the old shop, you can just have a
rack.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, the rafters are lower in the old shop, so it's pretty easy just to hang things, but.
True.
I don't even have a ladder tall enough to get up there in this. Everybody freaked out when I put this extension ladder in the bed of my truck and hung the lights. This is base clear, which is going to be a lot different process than what we just did. This is going to be shoot the base, a few coats of that, let it sit, and then, I don't know, maybe an hour? I don't know what the flash time is on it, but basically once it's dry to the touch, then you clear it. The problem is, I don't want to make a giant mess in here. How much do you think? It'd probably take not even half of a cup gun to paint this stuff. We need to mix 8 to 4. What is that? 2 to 1. So I got a ladle, and I'm gonna try to just scoop paint out of here. Without making...
Sorry, I can't make you laugh right now.
Well, if we can lower the level in the can, that's going to help us out tomorrow or whenever we actually paint it, right? So, I mean, it's going to take me a minute, but I won't waste as much.
Is that Smurf soup?
Mm-hmm.
Looks
it
delicious.
Is forbidden.
The forbidden soup.
And I owe Jess a ladle. That would give me about, I need to go a little bit more, and it'll give me about half a quart, about a pint sprayable.
That
probably should be
plenty.
Enough.
Yeah. Really crappy tripod you have here. Really expensive, crappy tripod.
But it's a pretty cheap toolbox. This part is not ladleable. God damn it. Why are they like this? Just put the fucking spout in the corner. All right.
There you go. Here's where it hits the floor.
So far, so good.
Dang it.
I don't know if that's enough to spray this stuff, but I'm going to try. I guess I can always mix... No!
It's only a little bit blue now.
What do I do with my strainers? Just throw them on the floor? Or?
That's what you do on the other shop.
What am I supposed to do in this place? Here, I'll put it on the Temu shelf. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that'll be fine.
It has filters on it. It will be fine.
Now with base clear, all we're trying to do is make it blue. That's it. We're not worried about shiny or anything. We just want it to be blue. Wow. Slow down, damn it. All right, let's let that sit for just a minute.
Is it number 2?
Yep. I think it's good. Does it look good to you?
It's pretty good.
I got a bug right in the middle of it. But that's going to happen. I think the mirrors are good. Come look at them, see if I missed anything.
I thought they looked good from the first coat.
Yeah, they probably were. I think it's good enough to clear.
You got to wait about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It's already dry. You just want to make sure that solvent pops out of the base coat before you coat it with clear. The clear mixes 4 to 1. I'm going to guess I probably need about the same amount, maybe a little more. Okay. That was a much better pour on my part. So this mix is 4 to 1 with just activator. If you need to, I would not hesitate to put some reducer in your clear. It's going to make it slick out a little bit better. But we'll see what it looks like with this. You can usually tell just when you're mixing it on the stick. I am not going to put any fisheye eliminator in it because theoretically it's pretty clean in here, so it should be alright. What I'm looking for when I mix this is I want to see it, well, drip off the stick just like that. So this clear is made thin enough it doesn't need reducer, which is both convenient and also a little concerning. And I just used the same paint gun to shoot it. I washed it out with some thinner. So what do I do with this? Throw it on the floor? Or?
No, you gotta put it over there now.
Oh yeah, on the Temu shelf.
Temu shelf.
Yep.
All right, so with clear, I like to lay a coat on that's kind of dry and then follow up with a wet one. Remember, clear has isocyanates in it, and it will kill you eventually. I am not Mr. Safety Guy, but wear your damn respirator.
Even if you're the cameraman.
Now we let that sit for about 15 minutes and come back and hit it again. That looks excellent. That's done. 2 coats. That's pretty good. I mixed up too much clear.
Do a third?
Huh?
Do a third?
I'm going for the forbidden extra coat. See, that's why you don't do it. All right, we got away with it. All right, that's good.
We're done. Yep. We've pushed our luck enough, and that came out good.
That is beautiful.
It is time to final sand. JD's here. He's gonna help. Buff's still here. Gonna help, and my dad's coming. He's gonna help. Final sand is the make or break it part of your bodywork. You can really screw the whole thing up right here. So what we're going to do is 400 hand sand at 320 DA. So we got some 400 grit, like JD and Buff. We'll take that and basically palm sand anywhere that I can't get a DA. I can DA the hood, I can DA the roof, I can DA the deck lid, and I could probably DA the upper half of the quarters, but the rest of it's going to have to be hand sanded. And if you're somewhere flat, you can use a sanding block. You're probably not going to be anywhere flat because there is nowhere flat on this car. Your best bet is just take some sandpaper, fold the sandpaper in half, and you're going to use your palm. Make your hand flat and use your palm, and you're not trying to dig or do anything. You're just trying to, you just want to make it smooth. So you're going to do really, really short strokes. If you do big, long strokes, it's going to end up leaving gouges. And see how the sandpaper clogs like that? Just pull it off, whack it a few times. Just slowly. Short strokes are key. Stay off of the edges. We don't want to burn through here. If we burn through here, it's going to kind of suck. So just go up to the edge, but don't touch the edge. We'll get the edges with a Scotch-Brite. So see the white, the lighter spots? That needs to go away. We want everything to pretty much end up being the same color. That's our goal. And that's pretty good. You just want to run your hand over it and feel it nice and smooth. And then like where I got some of this overspray on it, you know, you can leave that for me if you want. Okay. I'll take care of it. Short strokes and use your palm. Don't use your fingers. Don't put pressure anywhere. You just, you know, try to shape your hand to the shape of the panel. For a DA this time I'm using a, this is more of a finished DA. It's an old one. It's a Hutchins, but you could use this guy for wet sanding and all kinds of stuff. It's got a really tight pattern so it doesn't leave scratches. Blocking, and see a little white dot here. It's just like a little tiny crater.
Yeah, right there.
There's a handful of them, that little dude, whatever it is. That's what spot putty's for. And even like back in here, there was a few. You could paint over this green stuff. I wouldn't paint over the cheap red stuff, but this stuff is fine. You spray it. Maybe when you do your base coat, you just give it like one extra little dust and then paint it, but it holds up fine. That's what it's for. It's pretty much ready to go.
Yep.
Dad had to split, but he helped between the four of us. We got this thing knocked out pretty quick. It's very slick, smooth. You can tell it's straight because it hasn't broke through very often or much at all, except for, you know, maybe on the body lines. But the car's straight. Not bad. We got to knock down a little bit of spot putty, then we're going to pull it out, blow the car off exceptionally well, clean the shop exceptionally well, pull it back in, and then probably spray tomorrow during the day to cut down on the bugs. I'm going to pull the car out, but before I do that, I need you to go to polebarnmerch.com. Please get you a hat or a t-shirt with a pocket. And, you know, we don't have anything too crazy over there, but just good, solid, good quality clothing for a pretty fair price. So check that out, please. And also, will you make sure you hit subscribe on the video? I noticed, like, lately, getting really good views on the videos, but I don't think people are subscribing anymore. And if you're watching on TV, it might be kind of a pain, but if you go, you know, onto YouTube on your phone and just subscribe there, or you can do it on a TV. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but yeah, they're all different. But maybe you can figure it out. I'd appreciate it. It helps. It helps me look more important to YouTube, and apparently that's all that matters in my life. Now my genius comes to light. There's enough of a gap around the door here that it actually sucks in dirt when that fan is blowing out. And I have discovered that just putting some furnace filters around it, it actually works fairly well. We're using the fault of the pole barn to our advantage. Its leakiness. Alright, it's paint day. That means we gotta wax and grease remove this thing. Have a dry cloth, have wet cloth, just like we did the hood scoop and the mirrors. And then we're gonna come back and hit it with a tack cloth, and we're gonna call it ready for paint. Here's a really important part, is the tack cloth. And the hardest part about this is you can't touch the car. So only the tack cloth can touch the car. I'm just gonna wipe. It looks really clean, right? Mm-hmm. You just wipe off this half of the hood with it and see what we have. Not much. It's pretty damn clean. But still, we go over the whole car with it just to be safe. I'm going to use the ladle again until I get that can down a little bit further, you know. This stuff's too expensive. We're going to mix 2 to 1 just like we did with the rest of the stuff. This is a metallic. Shooting a big area like this, you're going to want to overlap a little more than normal. Normal is about 50% overlap. You want to overlap about 30% with metallic. You want it to, you don't want to leave stripes. So I'll do my best. I am not a professional. Need more volume. The point of the first coat, just make it blue. That's all. Then we'll fill it in later.
The key is to stay perpendicular to the surface. The surface comes out, you go out. You move with the car.
You know, my arm would hurt a lot less if I would just shoot with a gravity feed HVLP gun like all these hipster painters out there. But I ain't no pussy. I shoot with real steel.
Alright, it's time to fill in the gaps. I'm just going to be a little more aggressive with my paint.
Well, the base is shot. Let it flash for about 20 minutes. We'll hit it again with clear.
That's one coat. We'll get it nice and wet with the next one.
We got a little bit of a problem. I am out of clear. This is all I've got left. I got enough for about a cup, gun, and a half. Just got back from running to the next town over to get another gallon of clear. This car needs another full overall coat, so I'm gonna go knock that out real quick, and then we'll see what the final result is. All right. Well, it is what it is. We'll show you guys once it airs out and things dry off a little bit. It ain't perfect. We're shooting in a pole barn. It's kind of too humid out, and ventilation is a real problem. That's something I learned this time. I need to get better draw through, because every time I'm spraying a panel, I end up killing another panel because the overspray is hanging on it. Or maybe it might be time to get into the 21st century with my paint gun. It's not bad. The thing is, you can pretty much shoot clear however you want. As long as you lay enough of it on there, you can wet sand it. So that's where we're at, is the car's going to need wet sanded and polished, which pretty much every car needs wet sanded and polished. I just hate doing it. I was hoping I could get it laid enough, like just slick enough that I'd be happy. But we'll see. You never know. It may just flow out too. Well, it's not perfect. It's got some orange peel in it. We're not going to get away without wet sanding this, unfortunately. I was really, really hoping we could. It wet sands out, every bit of it does. It's just, you know, I'm gonna have to come back to this thing in about 2 weeks and get that done. But I can't be too mad at it. It looks really good. The color laid down good. There's no striping, no modeling. I think I shot it all right. It's just, given the conditions we're working in, it is what it is. I'm happy with myself on it. It's a hell of a lot better than it was. Still got a little tack to it. It's not quite dry. So I shouldn't unmask, but I'm going to unmask some. Not all of it, but a little of it. I've been out here working on reassembly. I got the door handles on, latches. I got to do a little bit of cleanup. Got some overspray on, a few things here and there, like the bumper. No big deal. And Dad will be over tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and put the stripe on the thing. I know I should really wet sand it first, but you know, we're going to have to wait probably at least 2 or 3 weeks before we can wet sand this thing. And I don't want to wait that long. So we're going to put a stripe on it, and I'll just wet sand the upper surfaces. The car, after baking for a while out here, has actually turned out really well. It just has some dirt in it. So a light wet sand on the upper surfaces. And this car is pretty damn nice. I'm really hard on myself sometimes, and I think coming back a day later and getting closer to it has made me, I'm pretty happy with this one. It's probably as good of a paint job as I've ever laid down in here. But I got a lot of cleaning to do. See that? Look at all that clear that got on the bumper. All this is very boring. We will see you tomorrow when Dad's here to do exciting things with a stripe. We're out here this morning. Dad is installing my $500 stripe kit, whatever it was. Got almost as much in stripes as I do in paint.
It looks right.
No, it does. The Phoenix Graphics, they sell really good stuff, and these are reflective, just like the originals. Soapy water and a squeegee.
And a straight pen. Reminds me.
You have the bobby pin.
Straight pen. Air bubbles.
Pop them. Also spent last night and this morning making this wheel well molding fit. This is not for this car. Obviously it was missing because the car was hit right here. That is some random one we found in a junkyard in New Mexico. It's for a Torino, but it's definitely not for a sport roof Torino. That little relief cut there, and you know, pounding on it. It works good enough. It'll definitely be good enough until we find the right ones. At least this shape is the same. Well, I was able to find the right ones, but they're like $300 on eBay, and I like the car, but I don't like it that much. Stripe makes it.
Oh yeah, and I love the reflective. I mean, it's factory. They have the ones that are like that, but they're flat color.
Mm-hmm. They're cheaper, but the reflective is the way to go. Yeah. At nighttime, it looks like a laser.
God damn it, that's pretty. Yeah, you gotta get those 2 Cobra Jet envelopes.
Cobra Jet? Yeah.
Or 460.
Something. The scoop looks good, Blue. That worked out okay.
Yeah, it did.
Need to wet sand below the stripe and the upper surfaces. Lightly. I mean, not much.
I started to say, I'm thinking, you know, once over and then compounded.
yeah, like 2000 grit and then hit it, and this thing would be pretty much perfect. A little detail work to wrap up here. I got to get a sticker on it. There we are. You can get yours at polebarnmerch.com. I've been pretty busy cleaning the windows, cleaning the interior. I got it looking presentable in here. It's very much not presentable under the hood. It looks like a lot of it will just wipe off, but we're going to have to do some work here. We'll make the dangerous assumption that most of this stuff is fairly clean, which it should be. Give it a quick wipe off, and what we're going to do basically is just dust some black right over the fender wells and the core support and stuff that got a bunch of overspray on it. There's really no cleaning that off of there. Honestly, it all kind of needed painted anyway. We're just going to get in here and just spray bomb, dust things black that are supposed to be black. Get you a piece of paper or cardboard or something. Junk mail works well. Just use that to help keep things off of the car or anything you don't want painted. And you know, I mean, this thing ain't no show car. It's never gonna be. It's gonna be driven and used. So I'm not super worried about it looking like perfect or anything in here, but we don't want it to be embarrassing. This is where you gotta get kind of creative. The damn hood hinges. There we go. That's a lot more presentable under here. The 460 is looking better. Once the paint's dry, I'll feel more comfortable like hitting this with a pressure washer and really cleaning it out, but at least it's not hideous for now. Well, there you have it. There's one brand new 1973 Ford Gran Torino Sport. That's all there is to it. You can do this at home, and your first time's not going to turn out like this. It's just not going to, but that's okay. My first time didn't look like that. And on this car, I spent a lot more on materials than I normally do. But for your first time, try tractor paint or try one of those internet paint kit things that are way cheaper. You know, get a feel for how it works, and then paint your damn car. Because, yeah, I get that it had patina before, but now it looks like this. You tell me which one's better. I mean, come on. And I'm not afraid to drive this, because it isn't perfect. It's nice. It's very nice. But it's not perfect. And so I'll drive the hell out of it. And then guess what happens when I get a bunch of rock chips in 5 years and door dings? I'll do it again because I know how to do it. It's not that big of a deal. Maybe I don't want blue anymore next time. That's the way you do cars. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to drive this to Kevin's at Junkyard Digs in about 3 days, and I would film that, but if I were to do that, you wouldn't be watching this video right now. We're going up there. I got a car up there I got to grab, and I want to show him the car because he's who I got the car from. We'll see you guys next time. Make sure you go to polebarnmerch.com and check that out. Get you a hat, a wife beater, t-shirt, whatever you want. That keeps me able to do this kind of stuff. A video like this, I break even on this. I spent too much on materials. Anything like that helps. So we'll see you guys next time.